The Undercountry Music News is an excerpt of the weekly internet broadcast Undercountry Music, which features music from great country artists you won't hear on mainstream radio, as well as a roundup of the most interesting country music news of the week without all the fluff. This program you're listening to right now contains only the news portion of the show. To listen and subscribe to the full weekly episode containing the music and interviews, please visit undercountrymusic.com or simply subscribe to the Undercountry Music Podcast on iTunes. Let's get into it. I'm Neil Smith, gabbing at you into a microphone. I'm actually gabbing into a Samson C01U. Or is it a C01U? I think it's an O. And I have no idea what any of that stuff means. You know, sometimes when I have a guest, I have these crappy little $15 Samson microphones that I just put on little stands, and I talk with my guest. And I got to tell you, those things sound just fine too. Matter of fact, I think those sound better than what I'm talking to you right now. And I'm talking to you through a $100 microphone right now, and my $15 microphones sound as good or better. I have no idea why I keep coming back to the $100 microphone. It's like a psychological thing, isn't it? Wow. You know, there's some guys out there who use this thing called the Heil PR40, and it's like the Cadillac or the Lexus of broadcasting microphones. And the thing's like $450, and they put them on these big swing arms, and they've got these things called shock mounts so it doesn't pick up any vibration from the tables and things like that. And I'm like, well, that's a lot of work. And I'm like, screw it. I'll just put banjos behind myself when I talk, and you won't hear jack squat that happens in the background. You'd be amazed at what these banjos can cover up. But one thing they can't cover up is the stone cold truth. And that's what I bring you each and every week right here, because it's time for the it is that magical time of the show. The time that makes me all my enemies. I'm just lucky I don't put my whole face on the graphic for this show. Otherwise, you know, I'd get my ass kicked at the grocery store every time I go there. Especially in Nashville with all the people I piss off. But anyway, if you're just joining me, and you're wondering what the Undercountry Music News is, well, obviously you could figure out that it has something to do with country music news. Or maybe you think I'm yakking about Australia or something. Well, I ain't yakking about Australia. Although I do some stories about Keith Urban here and there. Well, what I do is I go onto Google each week and I do a search for the term country music news. And I keep my eye on all the country music news sites, and I find out who's doing their jobs, who's actually reporting country music news, and who is asleep at the wheel. Not knocking the band asleep at the wheel. They're actually pretty freaking awesome. But you know what I mean, right? All right, now here's the deal. A lot of times I go on these websites that say they got country music news, and they're just piddling around. They're mailing it in. They don't care. They're fat and happy. They just do not feel like working for it. And I hold their feet to the fire. Because if they got crap, I say they got crap. And you know what? A lot of times, they got mostly crap. But I can almost always find one, maybe two stories. Sometimes I'll hit a jackpot and get like 4 or 5 stories out of one place. But I only bring you the essential country music news. The news, well, you can't really use it for anything. It's just about music. So I'm not going to say news you can use because, I mean, look, it's not like we're up in here curing cancer. or doing that stupid ice bucket thing. You know, I saw these people dunking ice buckets over their heads. I was like, what the hell? Ice bucket challenge? And I didn't care enough to figure out what they were doing. And it's something to raise money for charity, and now it's been commandeered by Lou Gehrig's disease. And I don't know. You know what? I do what I can where I can. Dumping a bucket of ice over my head ain't gonna change that. So I'm preferring to stay dry. So if one of you a-holes comes up and issues me an ice bucket challenge, I'm gonna say no. And that doesn't mean I donate to the charity of your choice. It just means I say no. All right, where was I? Oh, yes. Yes! Undercountry music news. Yeah, if I go on a site and they got nothing but fluff garbage, nothing but how Brantley Gilbert polishes the metal on his brass knuckle microphone holder. You know that guy has like a brass knuckles microphone, right? Or at least it's the holder for the mic, and he spins it around and all that stuff, and while he's just trying to look as tough as possible. You know what? I mean, my God, Brantley Gilbert. I mean, his whole shtick is trying to be as tough as he possibly can, try to look tough and scary. He looks kind of silly, if you ask me. But that's just me. All right, but anyway, if I come onto a website and they got no country music news and they're just blowing rainbows up your butt, I will award one of them with the dreaded Undercountry Music News Wet Belch of the Week. And you know what? I haven't given anyone the belch in over a month. And you know what? I kind of miss belching. So you know what? I'm going to go ahead and belch right now for you. That way, if I don't get to it this week, at least you got to hear this belch I keep talking about every week. Okay, so here, let's go. Now, it's a technique I developed in grade school where I just put a whole bunch of air into my stomach. I actually have the unique ability to belch going in and out. And it takes me a second to work up. Hey, let me demonstrate that for you, because that one's lots of fun, okay? That is belching going in and out. You heard it took me like a second to get it going. That's the breaks. Anyway, let's get into it. Over at CMT, the Country Music Hall of Fame has just unveiled a new exhibit honoring Kenny Rogers with 40 years of memorabilia. Now, apparently, Kenny isn't really big on holding on to stuff, but luckily for everybody who likes to pay $20 to look at someone else's old crap, Kenny's crew held on to all sorts of stuff and stored it all away so you could have something to do on your day off. Over at Country Weekly, Josh Gracin, he's being held for psychiatric evaluation after an alleged suicide note was found, apparently alluding to problems at home. Now, the text of that note is posted over at Country Weekly, and it was obtained by, who else? TMZ. Now, police were dispatched to Mr. Grayson's home, where they did not find him, but they were able to get him on the phone and then get his wife on the phone with him. Got him to come home, and he was escorted to the hospital for evaluation. And let's all keep Josh and his family in our prayers. Now, on a more positive note, there is a new Legends of Sun Records exhibit, which is just debuted at the Johnny Cash Museum in Nashville. I gotta go check that thing out. Right? The exhibit features artifacts, record covers, vintage photos, and other items spotlighting the artists who made Sun Records famous. Artists like Johnny Cash, of course, it's his museum, duh. Of course, Elvis Presley, Jerry Lee Lewis, Roy Orbison, Carl Perkins, and drummer W.S. Holland. That's kind of odd that they threw a drummer in there, but I guess he was probably just a big session drummer for all those guys. I don't really know who W.S. Holland was. I ain't exactly the most knowledgeable show host. I'm just here to flap my gums and piss people off, okay? I do a pretty good job of it too, apparently. All right, also over at Country Weekly, they are reporting that Kenny Chesney's No Shoes Radio is about to be an official offering of iHeart Radio. Now, I have no idea if that station of Kenny's, the No Shoes Radio, I don't know if it's just all Kenny all the time or just his kind of beach country style type of vibe. You got your Uncle Kracker in there. You got your Zac Brown band in there, some Jimmy Buffett, any hillbilly song about boats, basically. But if you feel like hitting No Shoes Radio on iHeart Radio, you can tell me what the deal is. The Oak Ridge Boys' Duane Allen has been inducted into the Texas Country Music Hall of Fame and was also named an honorary admiral in the Texas Navy by Texas Governor Rick Perry during the ceremony on August 9th in Carthage, Texas. Now, the remaining Oak Ridge Boys were named honorary Texans. Okay, there's an awesome joke in there somewhere, and I just don't know where to find it. So if you find it, you come let me know, okay? Papa, mau mau. Over at Taste of Country, there's a blurb about songwriter Dallas Davidson, who wrote Country Girl Shake It For Me and other mind-numbing BS bro country wonders. He's saying that bro country is here to stay. There is no backlash against it, and he's going to keep putting drop a tailgate in every damn song he writes until idiots stop buying it. Now, I'm paraphrasing that last part, of course, but that was pretty much the gist of it. Tell you what, I got to give the guy credit for shoveling crap unapologetically. But boy, what he writes really is crap. And he makes a lot of money writing crap. Gets record labels to vote for him, to give him awards. Walking off with gold cowboy hats and all that stuff. I mean, God bless America. That's all I can say. Freaking God bless America. Over at GAC. Oh, wait, I'm going to get back on this Dallas Davidson guy, because he said one thing in this thing, because artists keep, he keeps going to these writing sessions and people say, hey, let's not drop a tailgate. Let's not write tailgates in this song because it's getting a little played. And he goes, well, you know what? What are you driving there? Most people are driving pickup trucks. Well, no, most people aren't driving pickup trucks. People who work on construction sites maybe drive pickup trucks and a few others, but not everybody drives a damn pickup truck, okay? He goes, you're driving a pickup truck. What's it got on the back there? That's right, it's got a tailgate on the back there. And people sit on them. As long as people got tailgates and they're sitting on them, dang it, I'm going to write about tailgates. And he really said something to that effect in that interview. Well, you know what? Every morning when I walk my dog, I find dog poop. Well, there's dog poop. I see it every day. Should I put dog poop in every damn song I write? All right, I rest my case. Dallas Davidson, you may step down from the stand. Over at GAC, the brothers Osbourne are set to release their self-titled EP on September 9th on EMI Records. Their full length is expected to drop in early 2015. The brothers Osbourne don't have a release yet? Well, they got to have something out. I mean, they've got hits already, right? I don't know. What the hell do I know? Anyway, they're also reporting over at GAC about Luke Bryan setting an all-time attendance record for a country concert at Gillette Stadium in Boston on Sunday, August 10th, with over 60,000 Bostonians in attendance. The parking lot could not handle them, so you know what they had to do? Oh, you feel it coming, don't you? You know it's coming. They had to park the car in the yard. Sumbitch! Over at theboot.com. The Irritable Bowel Movement Awards. That's right, the IBMAs, actually known as the International Bluegrass Music Awards, nominees have been announced. And like the top categories, like all 5 top categories are all filled with the exact same acts that you can count on one hand. And you can find out who all those acts are, as well as see who's in all the other lesser categories over at theboot.com. And the Mavericks, they have completed a new album which will be released in 2015 with all new material, which is not something many veteran artists do anymore these days. I hope it doesn't suck. I don't think it will suck. Well, I like the Mavericks. Fun group there, those Mavericks. And over at the 615, the best thing they have over there is actually pretty damn good. It's Lauren Jenkins with her version of Motley Crue's Looks That Kill as her part of the Nashville tribute to the Crue. And I must say, she really does her own thing with it and does an amazing job with it. I'm absolutely impressed, and you can hear it for yourself over at the 615. You know, I was listening to a radio show Saturday night, and they were playing all the tracks off the Nashville tribute to Motley Crue. You know, there were some acts that just did it, the songs like Motley Crue, and then there were other ones like, you know, like Lauren Jenkins, who just really took it and ran with it and just made it into something completely different and just knocked it out of the park. Now there is one song on this tribute album, and I got a little issue with it, and that is Smoking in the Boys' Room. Now, you know why I have a problem with the tribute album to Motley Crue having Smoking in the Boys' Room on it? It's because that's not Motley Crue's song. That was a cover Motley Crue did of a song by Brownsville Station. But most people think it's Motley Crue, and they threw it on there because it was a big hit for them. So, whatever, it's a cover of a cover. Why not? What the hell do I care? Over at NashvilleGab.com, Angeleena Presley from the Pistol Annies, whom Nashville Gab refers to as a person, quote unquote, who may or may not still be a part of the Pistol Annies, end quote. Which I thought was an odd thing to write. I mean, that's not what this little blurb was about. I just thought it was a really odd thing to pull out of left field. I mean, with no explanation. I mean, did they have some information that the rest of us don't have? Or, you know, is there something I missed somewhere? Or is Nashville Gab just lobbing grenades, providing some grist for the mill there to get us all talking like, ooh, Angeleena Presley. Oh, son of Nashville Gab. She might not be with the Pistol Annies anymore. Oh my goodness. Is that true? Is that true? And then we all start talking and, you know, hey, you know. Anyway, the story's about she's just released the lyric video for her new song, Ain't No Man, which you can find a link to right there in the article. I had a look and listen. I really enjoyed the sound of the song, and I actually really enjoyed the lyric video. And it does not sound like everything else on the radio, at least sonically, but lyrically, she's not really breaking any new ground. It's all about how no man could conquer this certain girl who's the subject of the song, how no man could conquer her heart because she's so wild. And, you know, and quite honestly, it just kind of bored me. You know, I'm looking for something that not everybody writes about. You know, I'm tired of love and relationship songs. I know I have a piece of charcoal for a heart, but Angeleena's new song, I'm giving it a C+ and moving on. Over at Nashville.com, Clare Dunn has become the highest charting independent female artist in 10 years on the Music Row Country Breakout chart, accumulating over 30,000 spins. Now, the story doesn't really define what spins means. Now, does spins mean radio, as in over-the-air radio, or otherwise known as terrestrial radio? Does it include crappy podcasts like mine? Does it mean music industry folks downloading it and giving it a listen? Does it mean us downloading it? I don't know, and the article does not clarify that, but apparently she's the highest charting independent female artist in 10 years on the Music Row Country Breakout chart, whatever the hell that is. You'd think me with a show like this, I would know what that is. But see, the beautiful thing about what I do here is that I don't care. I just get a hoot out of doing this show for you every week. I'm sitting here and, rubbing people wrong. And it's oh so right. Also over at Nashville.com, they're reporting that Kacey Musgraves has gone heavy metal. Her debut single, Merry Go Round, has been certified platinum. That's what they mean by heavy metal. And her songs, Follow Your Arrow, and album, Same Trailer, Different Park, have both been certified gold. Hey, kiss lots of girls if that's what you're into. And this has been your Undercountry Music News. Thank you for listening to the Undercountry Music News. The Undercountry Music News is just a small excerpt of the weekly hour-long internet broadcast Undercountry Music, where I, Neal Smith, not only round up the week in country music news and put my own spin on it, but I also play music and have great interviews by lesser-known original country acts, the kind that you won't hear on mainstream country radio. If you're thirsting for that, get on over to undercountrymusic.com, where you can listen and subscribe. You can also subscribe via iTunes to Undercountry Music. Thanks so much. Stay under, stay country.